You ever see stuff you can't explain?
This came from somewhere else.
Oh, Lena, we're all going against the wind.
Life elsewhere in the universe is virtually a certainty.
CIA monkey business.
That was awful strange.
Hey, what's up? Talia, what's going on?
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm scared.
Terrified.
I'm really scared. You know why?
Why?
Because it's fucking spooky season, dog. The spookiest of all seasons. What are we doing here?
We're doing a super special Halloween episode today for our spooky season.
Oh my God. And it has nothing to do with aliens at all.
No,
Not
I
yet.
don't want a single alien. This is the last reference I want to aliens in the whole episode.
Yeah, I mean, more information could come out later about aliens and this story, but I'm not holding my breath. That's for sure.
Should we do our like Simpson style Halloween names?
Yeah, wait, what's my name?
Longer Dick Laura.
That actually is really scary to think about. Like, already the dick is long and now it's just longer. How did it get longer and why? And what's gonna happen now? What do we do with this longer dick? I'm not excited about it.
Spooky.
I like to imagine it is like longer and just kind of like moving like a ghost, like like waving.
Okay.
All right, and you're tuberculosis Tal.
I'm into that.
Yeah,
I like
pretty
that.
fitting. Pretty fitting for the topic that we're about to spook into here.
And wait, we are Take Me to Your Dealer, guys.
Yes, the title of what you're listening to is Take Me to Your Dealer, Take Me to Your Gravestone.
Great. No, that was perfect.
Definitely on par with the Simpsons level of humor.
Yeah, I wish
comedy.
we thought about that a little bit more first.
They should have hired us. To come up with those names. Clearly we're great.
Take Me to Your Desecrated Unmarked Grave.
Whoa.
Because that's what we're getting into today, guys.
Shit. Yeah, you really just pulled that out. Yeah, okay, so we're talking about fucking Mercy Brown, who came to town.
Yeah, you want to sing the song for everyone? Laura came up with a really great song for this episode.
I mean, great is definitely subjective.
No,
but,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, so basically it's I don't know if I should do it like chant style or like actually go for it. I'm gonna do like a chant.
Like chant it like as if we were like heading to Mercy Brown's grave in order to exhume her body.
Okay. Mercy Brown came to town and shat upon our lips. That's
beautiful.
It. That's all.
It instills fear in everyone in town.
It's up for debate of whether or not she actually shat upon people's lips, but she definitely shat upon everyone's fear.
Yeah.
Everyone
that's true.
became, pretty paranoid because of her. So shat upon something.
We're talking about the real life vampire, Mercy Lena Brown. Her story. So there was this whole New England vampire panic that happened in the late 1800s. And still even now, there's a chance if you're just wandering around that area, like the Rhode Island area in New England, you could come across some unmarked, desecrated graves.
Oh, yeah. And when we say desecrated, we mean desecrated.
Real
People
nasty.
are fucking pissing and shitting all over those graves. Fucking pulling up the gravestones, stealing them.
They were stealing them, yeah. And this is actually not just exclusive, obviously, to the East Coast of the United States, but you can go back into like centuries in Europe and find the same sort of things. Early Europeans basically didn't understand why sometimes certain corpses wouldn't decompose because no one really understood medicine.
No one really understood anything
ever. Yeah, no one really got anything.
Classic 1800s knowledge.
You can apparently even head into Bulgaria now and find like corpses that are like 1,000 years old and just with iron rods driven through their chests, which is so sick. Just imagine
they're
finding
not like
those.
still corpses though. They're like pretty much just bones at that point.
Yeah, I guess they'd be bones.
So I don't know. Is it still a corpse
cool.
at that point? Yeah.
Still a
yeah,
cool-
no, I like
cool
it.
idea.
I'm into it. Sounds hot.
Yeah. So one of these such cases is that of Mercy Lena Brown, who in
Many such
1890
cases.
in 1892 was exhumed from a Baptist church cemetery in Exeter, Rhode Island. And despite the fact that she had been dead for months at the time, she looked totally chill, normal, and cool.
Oh, dude, she was fucking styling, profiling,
Real
like
babely.
really just killing it in the looks department.
Mm-hmm. She was turned onto her stomach, which is mad weird because they definitely didn't bury her like that.
No. Why would they?
Don't know. Can't imagine a single good reason. But also her nails and hair had grown. There's some weird stuff going on with her body we can get into later. But anyway, they saw this shit and they were like, this girl's a vampire for sure. And it started this whole panic. People in the area thinking that vampires were on the loose and killing their family members.
Yeah. Basically, everybody got all freaked out because of this one poor 19-year-old who just, had a bit of bad luck, I would say. Just a spot of bad luck.
Oh, this family had the worst luck, for
sure.
And
so then the whole town basically turned against her posthumously and, blamed her for the senseless deaths that were happening. They were like, she's clearly sucking the life force out of everyone's dick.
Yeah.
Sucks. Literally sucks.
Wow. I don't know if that's true at all, but yeah, people in town, Exeter at the time was like a really small town. Their population had been dwindling, I guess due to like Civil War casualties and et cetera, railroads. Yeah,
basically it was like a really poor like farming community. I think at one point it was like the spot, it was booming, but then like, I guess the soil like just got bad. I don't know from like if it was like from like factory runoff or like what, but there just wasn't really a lot of hope there. So a lot of people just started moving away. Like they started going out west. Fido goes west.
Yeah. And then to make matters worse, people were getting sick. Consumption was making its rounds.
Ew,
today known as tuberculosis, but consumption's way cooler. I wish we still called it that. It is.
I know. It definitely paints a better image than tuberculosis.
Right. Yeah, I agree. If you got, it wasn't super contagious. I don't think. Like, I think it's harder to get, but if you got it, it was fatal about 80% of the time. And you could also live with it for years. There was like multiple types. There was like the kind that you could just have for a decade. And then there's like the galloping sickness, they called it. Galloping consumption. So cool. Right. And you die from that like right away.
They love their horses here because one of the potential cures for consumption was actually riding horseback. Like an actual doctor would say, oh, you got the consumption? Go ahead and ride horseback. Just ride a horse. And drink some brown sugar water.
Drinking sugar water.
Yeah.
I mean, horses like sugar water. You're already on the horse.
I could see how they put two and two together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, kind of made that connection there. But an actual cure for this wouldn't be available until the fucking 1940s, dude. So like,
it's nuts.
They struggled for a long time.
Yeah. So common symptoms: weight loss, fatigue, night sweats. I feel like those are kind of vague, but also the coughing up foamy blood was kind of the big kicker. That was like, you're like, oh yeah, you're dying.
That was a little suspicious, I would say. It's like that was kind of where some of the vampire stuff came into play because a historian at the time said that symptoms progressed in such a way that it seemed like something was draining the life and blood out of the victim. So like,
nice.
I mean, their weight, it's extreme weight loss. Blood is literally like coming from their mouth. Like, something is has latched on and won't let go.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Cool. So let's get into the story of this horribly sad Brown family that experienced just the most extreme trauma.
Mr. and Mrs. Brown, who came to town.
What were they doing?
They were shitting on lips.
They weren't. They were hardworking farmers. They, I mean, I guess whatever they could do in town with farming, since the dirt was shit.
There's some bad dirt.
Yeah, and they had 3 kids. They had Mary Olive, Mercy, Lena, who I think did go by Lena. It sounds like.
Yeah, right.
Mercy
seems like a strange name, but it's also a cool name.
Okay, and they also had a son named Edwin.
Yeah, which is a bad name.
That is a bad name too.
Mary Olive. They really just went all out with Mary Olive here, and then everybody else just kind of got like the
yeah. They had one good idea. Then
exactly.
Yeah. So the first one to get the disease in 1882 was the mother, Mary Eliza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she got it and pretty much like died right away. And then the sister, Mary Eliza, got it like pretty soon after. And so they both died in like early 1883. And it's crazy because like Mary Olive, again, like just super special, like, golden child, apparently. She got all the attention. When she died, her obituary read, "The last few hours she lived was of great suffering, yet her faith was firm and she was ready for that change."
It's beautiful. Okay. And the whole town came out.
Right. So the whole town apparently loved fucking Mary Olive. Mm-hmm. They sang a hymn that apparently she had chosen herself because, like, she knew she was going to die. She was like, "I want the whole town to come sing." And they were like, sure, Mary Olive, local celeb. We'll do that.
And how did it go?
"One sweetly solemn thought.
Yeah.
Mercy Brown came to town and chat upon your lips."
At Mary Olive's funeral.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so that gorgeous ceremony happened. And back at home, Lena's sick. And so is her brother, Edwin. Yeah. So this whole family, and this is over the course of like, what was this, like 9 years?
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Right. So basically, like, Lena got it, but like didn't experience any symptoms. Like, she didn't have any like outward like coughing or like weight loss or any of that shit. Like, she was like pretty much fine, I guess, for
like a
long
decade.
Time. Yeah. Her brother, though, got it like a few years later and got like pretty sick. And he was like he was known to be like big and husky. They like to say it's like husky is such a strange like description of someone.
Yeah.
So he was husky, and they actually sent him to a Colorado Springs sanatorium, hoping to improve his condition.
Yeah, which is something they did a lot back then. They thought like the fresh air in Colorado, like that fresh mountain air, was good for tuberculosis.
Fresh,
and they actually
that stanky stank. That
dank.
They
were kind of onto something there with that dank air.
Yeah,
it did help a little bit.
That wasn't totally like, fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Like superstitious thinking.
Yeah. It was a good idea. Better than the horse.
Better than the horse. Better than the brown sugar. I mean, because everybody did like live in pretty close proximity. Like, that's why diseases like this could kind of like ravage a whole family, because like it was pretty common for like an entire family to live in like a small house. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So yeah, he's out there chilling in Colorado, and Lena finally, it seems, starts to get symptoms. And this is like, again, something that they really didn't understand. Like, they didn't understand that you could get a disease and then 10 years later start to show symptoms for it. So to them, this family is just being preyed upon at this point. Like, that's just terrible what's happening to them. Like, they're cursed. Like, why are they all getting sick?
Yes.
Yeah.
A curse most foul.
A curse most foul.
Yeah.
And
so it was
dies.
the galloping kind that we talked about, like the galloping tuberculosis, which is, horse girl shit.
Again, she gets the horse girl one, and she just dies. Like, that's it. Once she starts getting symptoms pretty fast. In January of 1892, 19 years old. And she didn't get shit. for her
No,
for her
fucking
funeral.
sister. They used it all up. They used up all their mourning and sadness on her sister, who apparently was, yeah, again, like the golden child. Like, what the hell did she ever do? No one fucking remembers her name. Everybody remembers fucking Mercy Brown's name, though. Yeah, so her obituary was a lot shorter. It was just basically
sad.
like, Miss Lena Brown, who has been suffering from consumption, died Sunday morning.
Is dead.
Like,
anyway.
Okay, moving on. Yeah.
They didn't even sing her a song.
They did not sing Mercy Brown Came to Town and Shat Upon. They didn't sing her own fucking song out of her own fucking, yeah, it's bullshit.
They sang her song for her sister. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so I mean, now this family that was once 5 people is down to George Brown and Edwin. And Edwin comes back from Colorado Springs. He is not better.
No.
In fact, he's pretty shit.
That dank air did not do wonders for him. Yeah, and so actually, like, the local paper, like, I guess this must have been just like the famous family or something. Like, I just don't understand like why the
40 people in this town or something.
I guess, right. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so the paper wrote like a little thing about Edwin too that was like, oh, if the good wishes and prayers of his many friends could be realized, friend Eddie would speedily be restored to perfect health. So,
wow.
Yeah.
They really just hated Lena.
I know. Why didn't anybody ask for prayers for Lena? They're like, nah. What'd she do? Maybe she was a vampire, like, really.
Yeah.
She was shitting on everybody's lips. Of course they're not going to write something nice for her.
Yeah. Well, so at this time, everyone in town starts getting mad sus, basically. They're like, what the fuck is going on with your family? This is bullshit. Like, we're going to start getting sick now. Like, whatever is cursing you guys is going to start coming out and cursing us. And we got to figure out how to stop this.
Yeah. So the neighbors, they went to fucking Mr. Brown himself, George, old Georgie, the daddy. And again, they said that his family was cursed, and they assumed that it must have been one of the women
of course,
that was dead. That, they weren't really dead. They were feasting on the living tissue and blood of Edwin.
Of course.
Clearly. Why not? Of course.
Right. And the only way to figure out if this was in fact what was happening is to exhume the bodies and check them out. And so this is kind of what we were talking about at the beginning. This isn't like something that they just decided as a town would be a good idea. I mean, we've got hundreds of years of people doing these practices, and it's kind of folklore-y to think like, not necessarily, oh, this is a vampire and we need to check to see if they're a vampire, but just the idea that like it was totally reasonable to them. Like, oh, there's somebody underground sucking the blood out of your son. So we have to go check to see if they have blood.
Right. I don't think like the term vampire, like that like idea as we know it today, like was really what it was back then. It was more so like, like demonic, it wasn't really like, oh, like a Dracula kind of vampire. It was just like a demon from hell kind of.
Right. And also kind of just like medicinal. Like it was almost like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Not necessarily like, like George Brown was definitely a little bit more level-headed, and he still agreed to it because it was kind of like, look, this is your crazy folk remedy for healing my son. Whatever. If you guys think it might fix him, okay, we'll try it. It wasn't some like crazy demonic ritual. So they asked him permission, and he was kind of like, okay.
Hey, can we dig up your wife and children, please, sir? Sure, I guess. Go right ahead.
He even consulted their family doctor.
Yeah, and the doctor too was also kind of level-headed and was just like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but hey, fucking townsfolk gonna townsfolk.
Yeah,
I
think he also probably was just kind of scared too at this point, where it's like if he kept saying no,
they were gonna fucking show Mr. Brown what's what. Yeah, or they're just gonna do it anyway.
Yeah. So they first dug up the mother and Mary Olive's beautiful corpses, and
of course
they were actually not beautiful at all. They were like,
no, they weren't.
Just bones.
Pretty much just bones. Pretty nasty at this point. as they expected, and that surprised no one. They were just like, okay, yes, this is what we want to see. We want to see those corpses looking like corpses and being all nasty and shit. That's what gets us off. And so then they went and got Mercy Lena. Now, interesting thing about Mercy Lena is that she wasn't technically buried, because she died in the wintertime. The ground was too fucking hard, dude. So they had to keep her body above ground in a storage area.
Yeah, she was just
shed.
in a nailed coffin above ground chilling.
Yeah, right. So they went and they, took her body out of the coffin, basically they opened it up and they saw that, like how we said before, her body had turned over, and she was fucking perfect. She's perfect.
It looked like she was asleep, basically. Her hair and her fingernails had grown, which isn't that weird. And I wonder, honestly, if they thought it was that weird at the time too, because that's a pretty common thing, because the rest of your you shrink, right?
Yeah,
your skin
it
pulls back.
happens. Yes. Yeah. It just doesn't stop for whatever reason. Your hair and your nails keep growing after you fucking die. That's what happens.
Yeah. But she wasn't decayed at all.
No.
And so obviously
she was smelling fresh.
She was smelling fresh. And also I think just the idea of them opening her coffin and seeing her back must have been so traumatic to them. So
I know.
Why? So they immediately are panicked. I think that for them was enough to be she's been out and about. She's a vampire.
Clearly.
But they check out her organs, which is what you're supposed to do.
Naturally. Classic.
And she had blood in her heart, liquid blood, and her mouth. Not coagulated blood, but just liquid shit.
Right. And it's because, she was basically preserved because of the cold weather. It's just nothing was decaying in the normal process if she had been buried and not exposed to freezing temperatures. So basically, she was preserved. So that's why she had blood kind of liquefied still.
Yeah. Which isn't weird as we understand it again today, because when you die, your body kind of bloats and you get it is weird scabbing and stuff like that, ulcers on your organs, and they you'll end up getting you kind of cough up blood basically. And because she was so frozen and preserved, that's just totally normal. But at the time, they saw that and were perfect example of a vampire.
Well,
exactly
also,
what we expected.
Yeah. So also there's the theory that she wasn't actually fucking dead when they put her in the coffin. So that's why she was turned over. That could be another reason why it appeared that she was coughing up blood, because she was still fucking alive, dude.
Oh god. I can't think of any. It's so disturbing to think about, but I can't think of any other reason that she would be turned over.
Right.
Unless she was buried alive.
They did that shit all the time. There was a thing. I just remember watching something where they used to implement a bell system up until the early 1900s or whatever, when they started actually declaring people dead. They had more of a process, because before they were just oh, yep, he's dead. He's just no, he's just taking a nap. Oh no, he's dead. Oh no, he's dead. Put him in the fucking ground. And so they had to implement this bell system that was basically a bell on top of the grave that was attached to the coffin. So if somebody woke up from their nap, their afternoon nap, and they found themselves in a coffin, they could ring this bell, and then hopefully somebody nearby would be oh shit, not again. Oh shit.
Yeah, they had bell watchers that would just hang out all night to hear a bell.
What a job.
Fucked. That's so fucked. What a cool job.
We should still have that.
I wish
that was still the process. I would do it.
You're getting embalmed today. You're not waking up, but still a cool job.
Yeah, I like
it. So she was probably, buried alive, preserved, some fucked up shit. But they didn't get that. So of course they did the most logical thing, declared her a vampire and burned her heart and liver.
Yes.
And
of course, classic.
Right. And then they mixed those ashes with water and gave it to her brother, because
yum. Drink up, Edwin.
Of course.
Drink up.
And it saved his life, and he miraculously recovered and went on to live a really long.
He's still alive today, actually.
He's still alive. He's a vampire now, too.
It was just so successful. Yeah, no, he died immediately.
No, he died. Yeah. Didn't do a damn thing, of course.
Didn't do anything. He died instantly.
Yeah.
As soon as that blood shat upon his lips, he died.
What is this shit?
Yeah, so didn't work at all. And fucking, yeah, it was pretty much like, whoops. Yeah, I guess maybe she wasn't a vampire, but
I have a theory, though, because
what's your theory?
So, yeah, this whole family is dead now, except George Brown, who
fucking
never
Mr. Brown
got sick. And he lived on until 1922. And
my
then
God.
just died at a nice old ripe age of like 35 or whatever it was back then. And
no,
like,
dude,
why didn't he get sick? I'm like,
why didn't he get sick? Like everyone in
he
this
was a
fucking
vampire.
Family? Yeah, he's the real vamp. That is suspicious. Absolutely. Let's find him. Let's find his grave and desecrate his grave. Huh?
Oh God.
Huh? Why not? Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty much the story. Fast forward here to 1981, literally like a century later. A distant descendant of the Brown family named Everett Peck has basically come out and been like, yo, like this was my family. I think that they accidentally buried her alive due to incompetent, just medical times, you know, like they didn't fucking know anything. Apparently he also says that he went and visited the grave of Mercy Brown and kind of like sat with the grave and then saw like a ball of light hovering above her grave. So that's spooky.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. He also, I guess, was like going around town and talking about that, and people were like, oh yeah, like I've seen that. Like people like claimed that it was like a common occurrence, and also said that like there's just stories of people hearing like whispers in the cemetery and stuff like that too. Like there's just all this lore around her grave now that it's like haunted and weird. And like her gravestone was there, so people because of all of this defaced it and damaged it and actually stole it in 1996.
Oh my God, yeah. Right.
But then they returned it. They were nice.
That was nice of them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
No, it's like she became like a local legend. I think even more so than a local legend, and this is like my favorite part of this whole story, is that I mean, this story at the time really made the rounds in local papers and was picked up elsewhere because it's kind of, I mean, it was over 100 years ago, and people were still a little bit more chaotic, we'll say, back then. But it was still pretty barbaric to go and dig up your relatives. It's not like everyone thought this was super chill. Like a local paper at the time was like making fun of them basically and said, it was the Providence Journal said there are considerable elements of rural population in this part of the country upon which the forces of education and civilization have made scarcely any impression.
Which is like dude. The sickest fucking burn. So like really a good burn. I really wish that like we still had that level of vocabulary. What the fuck happened?
That hurts.
Fucking Providence Journal owns local townspeople.
So all the way over in London in 1896, a stage manager was traveling with his theater production company and was reading about the story, and later we'd end up finding these like newspaper clippings in his possession. So he was very influenced by it. His name was Bram Stoker, and of course he would go on to write Dracula. So clearly the story of Dracula was heavily influenced by Mercy Brown. And I mean, like there's that scene in Dracula where they end up like going to Lucy's grave and digging her up and finding that she's a vampire and staking her. And it's like,
oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that is the story of Mercy Brown. So as much as, you know, we understand now with modern medicine that she couldn't have been a vampire because that shit's made up, probably, maybe not, but you know,
don't rule it out.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned. Like, she was a real vampire because
she
that's all
was
we know.
Dracula.
She was Dracula.
She became Dracula.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right.
Really cool.
Fucking, that's Mercy Brown, dude.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Cover
What a
up,
paisan.
cover up your lips tonight, guys.
Cover up your lips. Mercy Brown will come to town and chat. She will.
All right. So time to tell you guys something.
We have a little secret.
A little secret. We tried to record this episode already once, and it didn't work out. It went pretty bad.
We consumed a little bit too much hooch the last time.
It was a hooch heavy episode.
Yeah, we were definitely on the hooch.
It's a little messy, but we have that recording and that video. We also just decided to dress up as weird vampires too for it, and it's
we
up
wore
on our
wigs for some reason as well. We had some skeletons hanging out with us. We had Frank hanging out with us the whole time. You can't see him, but he's there.
That whole video is up on our Patreon because apparently me and Laura just love to humiliate ourselves. So if you are signed up for our Patreon, you can find that on there.
Yeah, that's the real spooky shit. If you want to get really spooked, watch that fucking video.
The real true horror of alcohol consumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks for listening. We also have other things, TMTYD pod on everything. Reddit, Instagram, fucking that's it.
Yeah, Reddit.
Oh, we're on the new Trump. We're on the new Trump social media, Truth Social or whatever.
Are we?
Oh yeah.
I'm ready to get on there and tell everyone all about Mercy Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll be on there. TMTYD pod. No, we won't be on there.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Cool. Well, happy Halloween, folks.
Happy Halloween, tuberculosis towel.
Happy Halloween, longer dick lore. And
So
we'll be back next Monday to bunk you guys all over again on some aliens.
Yeah, we'll clap more alien cheeks later on. But this week, hey, little spooky shit. Little detour. It's all right. It's fine. Relax.
Yeah, take it easy. All right.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.